So behind me is the Hyatt Hotel, which used to have my favorite rooftop bar in all of Shanghai. They had a big hot tub at the top. It was properly nice. And now it's completely dead.
Today, I'm in Shanghai, which is to some China's most prosperous city and a place of disproportional controversy over the last few years. The city has been historically liberal due to its collaborative approach of East and West, something that has appeared to be fading away more recently. A lot has changed, and many of the multinationals that made this city one of the most diverse in China have gone home, and many have yet to return. I'm here to see what it all looks like today.
I think more things didn't survive COVID than I would have expected. So I haven't been to Shanghai in just about 8 years or so. And the only media coming into like a Western place in this area is mostly negative, almost entirely negative. You have one of the world's most intense lockdowns covered quite aggressively in the media over the pandemic. There's a 2-month time period where the local government had shut down the entire city, essentially walled it off in COVID to stop the spread of COVID-19. Since Shanghai was hit a lot harder than other places, it was criticized for being particularly aggressive, where people were locked into their houses, doors were welded shut. Some expats, and this could be propaganda, I have no idea, claim that they went over a week without getting new food and had to survive just on groceries in the house, not being left the opportunity to leave their homes. This old area is completely boarded up. 8 years ago it was not like this. With that said, I don't think this is related to COVID-19. And this is the old historic area, right? The old historic street. That's kind of like the last little glimpse of old Shanghai, in between all of the glitz, glamour, massive buildings, new high-rises and lights. You know, and his tour group passing me. But now it's all boarded shut. The reason I don't believe it's COVID is this whole area is featuring a lot of government revitalization projects. But if you were to look from here, it would seem that Shanghai is just a glimpse of its former self, which is, well, only corroborated here. Everywhere else, it seems like things are running as normal. Up this way, there's what used to be a big kind of touristy area at the end of Old Town. And you can see it's kind of confirming what I was saying, government revitalization project. And you have a presence of authority. But you can see that a lot of this old area, the really historical, interesting area, is being revitalized, rebuilt. Big overhead lights, lots of concrete, and a barriered off section of what used to be quite touristy. But let's see if this northern area has retained its identity. Now this is some of the livelihood I would have expected in this area. It's a street market across the street, and I think that should be a first stop. I'll find something to eat. I went to a night market last night, and I didn't record it, but I had noticed that it was quite empty. So let's compare to now. For frame of reference, the night markets and the food markets in Shanghai in general have been mostly shut down or confined to these designated stall areas. Street food is a thing of the past in a lot of Chinese cities as they moved away from things that occupy the road and instead to a more modern approach. But its identity is still retained. just in pockets. It was a little quiet there. And the number one rule in pretty much anywhere in Asia, or actually no, I take that back, pretty much anywhere in the world, is don't eat anywhere where there's nobody else eating. For your own health and safety. Instead, you can opt for healthy things such as Pete's Coffee, or let's see. It's a very touristy area. It's all Chinese tourists and some locals in the mix. They have a food court. Let's see what kind of options are in the Chinese Old Town food court. So how these food courts work is kind of similar probably to cafeteria food in anyone's home country. It's just grab a tray and then you pick between all these various items. You have different stews, pork, fried rice, fried bits, fried chicken, fried tofu. Oh, there's nothing too exotic here. Popular street food here in Shanghai is just drinkable soup dumplings, which are really fucking good. I'm just gonna get this pork. The older couple down there has been staring at me since I arrived, but let's see what I got. This is a braised soy sauce pork belly with the skin on. And then this does not suit the meal at all, but this one's particularly good. This is a mushroom called, in English, is snow fungus. I don't know what it is in Chinese. And it should be sweet. Chinese dates, goji berries, and snow fungus. I'll give it a shot. I usually have it cold, and this one's hot. That said, it's really good. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's a texture thing. I'm happy about this one actually, because the last time I had pork belly, oh, never mind. A quintessential Chinese addition to any nice looking meat at display, especially at one of these like cafeterias, right, is to supplement the entire base with bullshit. It's just radishes, right? It's like 3 pieces of pork sitting on top of a bed of radish. Now, the last time I got pork belly in China a few days ago, it was the same shit. There were pork belly slices in a line, and in between each slice was a piece of fucking tofu that was sitting in the same sauce. So it looked a lot like pork belly. You know, it's fine. It's hit or miss at these kind of places. Chinese food is really, really good. 75% of the time. It's a little cold. It's been sitting out for a while. If you had an uneasy stomach, there would be a risk, maybe not worth taking. But I like it enough. It's not bad. It's okay. It's like $7. It's pretty expensive actually. It's like $7 for this. Not worth it. Would not go back, but it's something for now. You can tell that the tourist industry hasn't fully recovered since those shops are still out of business. And the quality is pretty bad. There is so much good food in China, but if you take the lazy way like I did, you get shit. Walking around this kind of area, right, these like hyper touristy, really pretty kind of places, in anywhere in China for that matter, you're going to be faced with a lot of people who are very interested in you, mainly to sell something. Others, curiosity. I mean, 8 years ago, going through China, you were met with a lot of curiosity, but now, considering geopolitical climate and just the difference getting further and further between China's version of East and the general version of West, people now just kind of stare instead of approach you, which is fine. I mean, it's a product of environment. I have no no ill feelings about it. But one thing hasn't changed, and it's that if you stand anywhere for too long, someone's going to approach you, ask if you want tea. Or a young 38-year-old woman scamming tourists for tea, or going up to someone and go, "Oh, you look a lot like Tom Cruise." Has anyone ever told you look like Tom Cruise? Well, not until they told me. What it is people will come up to you and they'll ask if you want to get tea. They offer this very nice deal for you. They say, "Oh, like, you know, I want to practice my English. You look interesting. You look like Tom Cruise." And every single time you say no. Usually if something seems like too good, it is. Someone's approaching you, offering you free anything, it's probably no good. And what they do is they take you to the tea house. They get you a nice pot of tea, and then the bill comes and it's ridiculously expensive. And they go, "Oh my God, that was really expensive, huh? We should split the bill." And don't think for a second that she's splitting the bill. She works for them, right? So what it seems like is she's like, "Oh fuck, we spent too much. Oh, I didn't realize it'd be this much. We have to split it. No, you owe me this goodwill because I'm fucked now too. We're fucked together." That's not true at all. You're just getting fucked by yourself. Okay, it's starting to rain, so I think that's my cue. So China changed their law in a lot of the cities where motorized scooters are all totally banned, right? So now it's these electric scooters, which I think is a really good idea. Credit where it's due to China. Reduces pollution, makes things quieter. There's less smog at the ground level. All of which, yeah, positive. A city sightseeing bus. I mean, if that's not a sign that tourism's back, I don't know what is. That said, there's like 6 people on it. Something else I noticed when exploring Shanghai over the last few days is that the amount of foreigners has dropped tremendously compared to what it was 8 years ago. But 8 years is a long time. But before I finished that thought, I wandered into some kind of market. It's like New Year's, kind of red envelope, In those envelopes, kids will be hoping for some money from the parents, the relations, grandparents. I walked into here hoping I'd find something interesting and fake, specifically. These are the kind of markets that a lot of counterfeit goods linger in, but it seems that most of the goods here are kind of cultural goods and miscellaneous. Gifts, things, cards. Actually, I do need a card. Let me see if I can find one.
I didn't find anything at the market, so I left. But before the sun fully sets, I wanted to see another part of Shanghai, because I had heard that the old Milfen ruins, previously the most dangerous part of the city, had been repurposed into something quite impressive.
Before the sun went down all the way, I wanted to stop by this old slaughterhouse, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but I'd heard that they were developing it into an actual space, and it's really famous throughout the city for its architecture. It's built in 1933. It's like a bovine slaughterhouse, and it's just probably one of the best preserved parts of Shanghai style brutalism from the time period. It's quite interesting, and yeah, like I said, I mean, it was word on the streets that it was being developed, kind of the revitalized industrial spaces that you see in Western countries, right? They're getting increasingly popular in the East and just kind of globally. The cleanest restrooms in all of China, which is not a huge accomplishment, but they are genuinely nice. Let's look at this. You could say they don't make them like they used to, but I don't know if you'd want to say that about a slaughterhouse. I thought this place would highlight just a bit more of the changes that Shanghai has experienced. Development of kind of aging, otherwise wasted spaces that would historically have been, tore down or demolished, is kind of a reflection of the economic situation in a place. What's also interesting, so this building was occupied mainly by squatters for most of its postmodern history, and as you can see, it's nothing like that anymore. But it just goes on the list of things that are changing in the city. For a long time, it was just a place for vagrants, homelessness, dodgy business, and fell in a state of almost total disrepair. As interesting as this is, there's one more place worth checking to kind of see, the change in development in Shanghai. Okay, it's getting darker, and it's the mosquitoes just started coming out. But what I wanted to address before is, some of the streets are a little more empty, right? The tourist industry is struggling, clearly. Domestic tourism seems to be doing okay. Foreign tourism is at practically zero. But the other thing that I noticed is there's just really almost no foreigners left in Shanghai. And of course that's not true, right? You can go in any Shanghai foreigner kind of community online, and there's plenty of people talking about the bars they go to, the things they do. And I went to some of the expat bars last night, and there's still some that are doing fine. A lot of them are gone and have been replaced, and that's fine. But I think during those 2 months of lockdown, people that had the ability to go maybe back to their home country, maybe they don't have families yet, or maybe they just can take their passport elsewhere, I think a lot of them chose to, because even in the main streets and by the Bund, which we're headed to now, I haven't seen really many foreigners at all. Now that is certainly a surprise for any Canadians. In the middle of Shanghai, you have the fucking Tim Hortons, which is a quite overrated Canadian breakfast place. If you have Chinese tourism in your home country, you'll know that the standard type of tourist is big, hypermassive groups of like 50 people, and with the flag bearer in the front, sometimes with a megaphone, kind of just yelling and herding the masses. And more people from here can travel more than ever before, because over the last 30 plus years, more people have been uplifted into the middle class than anywhere else on the planet. That is a major success. And this here is probably one of the most famous skylines in the world, the Shanghai Bund skyline. Every day at 6 o'clock, the city lights up, and they do a mini light show with some of the buildings similar to Hong Kong. They have a nice natural haze. It does make the lights pop a little bit more. They say it's dust from the Gobi Desert, but I reckon the Gobi Desert's a little bit far away from here. But who am I to say? That's it for now over here. I think it's time for a change of scenery and to recover from that questionable pork that I had earlier.
For my last stop in the city, I visited my old favorite counterfeit market in Shanghai, the Chipu market in Pudong. I was curious what I'd find, considering the recent crackdowns on counterfeit goods throughout the country.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, it used to be the biggest counterfeit market in the city. and now it's gone. That's disappointing. I mean, there's still tons of counterfeit markets in Shanghai, and the way it works now is you have to have people kind of drag you away. So people will approach you like, do you want blank, blank, blank? If you say yes, they'll take you to a back room, maybe on the 5th floor of some building, and you'll be able to get pretty much whatever, right? People take commissions, and they run you to different shops that are hidden away. But back just a few years ago, this was all open business, right? You could get anything you needed, and it was all just available for the eyes to see. But looks like things are shut down. I had heard that over the last few years, China was changing its policy towards counterfeits and started to crack down on it. But it's the first time seeing the result.
Unfortunately, I couldn't leave with any Louis Vuitton, but it's probably for the better. That's all I have for today though, so thank you for watching and subscribe if you're interested. I'll be seeing you next week, where I'll be attempting to self-drive to the North Korean border. Join me on my bizarre adventure.
Chinese social media moments.